Hi, everybody. My name is Beatriz, and today I want to talk to you about your creative process and why this is important. Because if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you are most likely in the business of creating, whether that is creating workshops or creating services. You're always having to create, right? So I realize this as a business owner, I have to really tap into my creativity here, and that is because if I am creating a business, that business then has to create a solution or a product that really helps people, that guides them to something better. And so I have to really tap into my creativity process. What does that look like? What is creativity? And I delved a lot into that concept and the idea. But at the end of the day, you have to be the one to analyze your own creative process and then refine that with more creation, more experience around creating that you get. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a process that you can adopt so that you can begin to analyze your creative process and begin to create meaningful content, right? Because if you are creating for the sake of creating and just putting things out there because you're a business owner and you know that you have to be online and you know you have to create content and provide value and put yourself out there, it can get frustrating when you're creating. And then, one, if you're not feeling connected to it, that sucks because you're creating just for the sake of creating. And then two, you're spending all this time and then no one is clicking, no one is signing up for your subscription, no one is following you or reaching out to you or whatever it is that you're trying to do for you and your business. I want you to feel connected to that so that you can create something that really resonates with your audience. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a process that you can adopt that will help you begin to feel connected to what you create. Okay. And if you don't know me, again, my name is Beatriz. I am an entrepreneur and business coach. And if you're a woman of color, BIPOC, queer entrepreneur, come check us out. I am at beabosscoaching.com. So I'll leave the little right here. I'll leave the link there. You can go check us out and learn about what we're about, right? And that way you can begin to jumpstart that entrepreneurship journey and not feel so overwhelmed or intimidated by the process of creating content, for example, or knowing that you have to put yourself in front of the camera. So I wanted to share my process with you, and you can adopt this process as well. So, number one is thinking of an overall topic, right? We could have a whole video or workshop on creating content pillars. And content pillars are just the specific values and pillars that you feel really good about and that you feel comfortable talking about. And if you haven't done the work, to figure out what your content pillars are, what are the topics that you really enjoy talking about and that you feel confident in, you should do that work. Really hone in on what those topics are and begin to create content around it. So, hone in on a topic, and that is the umbrella, that is the starting point that you can begin to create content around and connect it back to your business and what you do. So, creating and finding that topic. The next thing is brainstorming around that topic. I enjoy brainstorming, but it takes up a lot of energy. And something that I have learned about myself when it comes to creating is that it takes up a lot of mental energy, and that my energy is at its peak or at its highest in the morning. So I brainstorm a lot in the morning and during in between the hours of 7 and 12 and noon, or actually before lunch, because if I eat lunch, I know I will crash. So I like to brainstorm, and I know because it takes a lot of energy that it it requires a lot of mental focus. And the way that I brainstorm is usually through writing things out, talking things out first, and then coming up with a structure or a format or into something tangible. So I do that in the morning. And something that helps me with that now is AI. So we have a lot of tools around AI now that can really help you brainstorm as well, right? So one of the prompts that I use in my process sometimes is I have a topic and then I make a list of words that I connect to the topic that that I want some form of a concept around. And then I feed it into the AI machine. I ask it, can you come up with a title using this topic and these words that could be for a YouTube video, for example, right? So you want to give it as much information as you can. And then it gives me titles, right? It gives me titles. You don't have to use any of the titles. You can mix and match the titles, or you can maybe reading the titles gives you a whole other idea. And so this is just a tool to help you brainstorm. It's like having someone else brainstorm with you if you don't have anyone else. If you have other people, that's great too, obviously. But if you're on your own, you can use AI tools to help you brainstorm. And that's how you can begin to formulate, going from topic to idea to concept to something tangible and structured, and something that you can deliver. Okay, so that is a tool that I would recommend. The next step would be, this is one of the most important steps, really, because let's say you've come up with a title and you're like, okay, what can I start talking about that? And that's where most people get stuck, is when perhaps they've come up with a title or an idea or a topic for content, and then they're like, okay, but what does this mean? The questions that I like to ask myself that help me connect or start making that connection to the content is, how do I relate to this topic? How do I relate to this story? What are my personal experiences if I'm reading this title, or this, yeah, the title of what I'm trying to create? How do I relate to that title? What are my personal experiences with that title? What comes up for me? And that is when you can begin to create those connections. And then the second question would be, is how, what have I seen in my clients or my customers experience with this topic? What have I heard? What words or phrases or experiences or stories have they told me that relate to this title that I just came up with? And so thinking about it from that perspective can begin to create that connection for you. And that begins to create the meaningful part of all of this. That is where the meaning becomes embedded into the content that you're creating. Once you've come up with a topic, you've brainstormed some ideas, you've come up with a title, and now you really are beginning to understand how you relate to that topic, how you relate to it. Now you want to think about the medium, right? So, what is the medium that you want to use to deliver the information? As a coach, I have many things that I use. I have a podcast, I have a blog, I have a YouTube channel, I have, and I'm thinking of other mediums that I've been using or rotating through the ways in which I give information is workshops. So, could this be a workshop? Is this something that I could create into a workshop? Or should I just create a simple post about it, or a reel about it? Or maybe I want to create a 20-minute video about this, or maybe I want to create a 20-minute podcast episode on this, or maybe this is the topic I want to talk about with someone else and create an episode on that, right? So there's a lot of different mediums that you can use to deliver what you come up with. And I have too many, so hone in on one. Which one do you prefer? Which one brings you joy? And you can begin to create for that medium and make that decision. So make that decision. And then the last thing that I would say is understanding the tools that you need to create. Right now, it's just really about having the skills to edit a video or edit a podcast or write out the blog or knowing where to publish it on your website. It's just having the tools at your fingertips for you to be able to create and then deliver the product. Okay, so that is all. I'm going to go over all of these steps here for you to begin to um, have meaningful content. Is obviously choosing an overall topic, brainstorming that topic, understanding when your peak energy levels are, and scheduling the brainstorming for those times of the day, using AI tools to help you brainstorm and knowing how to prompt the AI machine. And then that's where the real work begins, is after you've brainstormed and you brainstorm the topic, a title, then you can begin to connect to the content by asking yourself, how do I relate to this title? How do I relate to this idea through my personal experiences, through what I've learned, through what I've observed? And then, have I heard customers or clients of mine talk about this? What experiences have they told me that relate to this idea or to this topic? And that's when you can begin to create meaningful connection to that, and start to formulate your content with more authenticity and connected to you, right? Then choosing the medium, blog, podcast, YouTube channel, LinkedIn, social media, other. Those are the ones that I use. But then choosing the medium where you want to provide this information and then creating it. Do it. What tools do you need? Do you need a camera? Do you need a laptop? Do you need a podcast website hosting? Do you need just Google Forms? And then choosing where you're going to deliver that content. I will leave you with two final tips for this. You want to make sure the content is meaningful by relating to it, right? I already said that, relating to it, having your customers feel related to it as well. And then two is you want it to be efficient. And efficient means that from this content, you get people talking. So you get them to take some form of action, whether that's subscribe to your channel, subscribe to your newsletter, follow you on Instagram, leave you a comment. What does that look like? You want it to be effective, right? So make sure that the content that you create is not just meaningful and relatable, but that is effective, and analyze that and test that and see what lands the most with people. And then they can give you data and information on the actions that you're taking. And that's all part of strategy. So being cognizant of how effective your content is being strategic. And I teach that in my Be a Boss coaching program. So if you would like to know more about that, let me know. Come on over to beabosscoaching.com, send me a form request, and I will reach back out to you. And I'm excited to connect with you. That is all for me. Thank you so much. And if you like this video, please subscribe, please like, share, and I'm excited to have you here. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.